What's going on, everybody? Sorry for the late upload here today. A lot of House of the Dragon stuff that was out. So, wanted to get that out. Also, a lot of other things to talk about. We got a lot to talk about today. So, we're going to talk about it. The Rock's been on the tour, man, promoting Black Adam. Seems to heavily been really promoting Henry Cavill. And with all the news with Superman getting his own movies with Warner Brothers and all of that, seems to be pretty inevitable. That's going to happen. Obviously, that's why the thumbnail has Superman Black Adam on it. Because I think it's going to happen. I think everybody knows it's going to happen at this point. And especially with The Rock confirming it in an interview, more or less, he's confirming it as well. Telling people to go check out the freaking movie, because that's going to happen, I assume. So that's a big story. There's other things kind of happening inside of the news that we'll get into. We know that that movie Smile is doing really well. Also, people who are excited about Quantum Leap. I was a big fan of the original. I never saw the new one, but it's getting more episodes. There's some photos of the new boys. New boys season. Last of Us stars. They didn't play the video game. I don't know if anybody should care about that or not, but we'll talk about that as well. Rob Liefeld talked about Wolverine inclusion inside of the Deadpool movie. Get his thoughts, and then that's going to be the majority of the stuff that we talk about. It's going to be kind of a special episode where you're going to get me here talking, and then I'm going to throw to my buddy Andrew Freed, who you guys saw a little while ago. He's the producer of Welcome to Wrexham and Chef's Table. He's got Chef's Table Pizza out. We need to talk about Cosby, and him and Brett did something. He came in the other day, and I was going to give it like its own separate episode, but then I was like, we'll combine it with this one for Monday's episode, because otherwise I have to cut Roxy and Brett out on Thursday. I don't want to do that. So it's going to be kind of a supersized episode today. And on this supersized episode is Carbon Health, as you see right there. Thank you to Carbon Health. We love Carbon Health. Carbon Health has been so great. We're so excited to have Carbon Health. And it's amazing. They're amazing because they have like over 110 locations nationwide. They have 80 locations alone in California, the Bay Area, Los Angeles, Sacramento, and North San Diego. They have urgent care needs at all locations, advanced care for most urgent care facilities. They have the ability to handle x-rays on location. You don't have to go somewhere else to get a review an x-ray. It's awesome. You can go in and get tested for everything. And what they believe, their mantra is that they believe that everyone deserves a healthcare provider who is an active partner supporting you in your efforts to feel better and live healthier. They have care teams that support, and they have resources that you'll be able to use to focus and build a relationship. So it's pretty great. We love them. We've been working with them forever. Now, I mean, when I say forever, since the Schmodown Spectacular last year, but having a relationship with them for a while now. And I've been enjoying working with them. So I'm glad that they're sponsoring the show. And speaking of which, let's get to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the big thing. Let's start. Let's do it. I'm ready. You ready? Good. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's the show. The Big Thing Show. I'm by myself, but only for the first half. Second half of the show is silly, man. So I don't know if people knew this or not. I think that they do. I think you do. Maybe you don't. We'll figure it out in a second. But do you guys realize how the Big Thing structure works? Meaning, like, do you know that it's like Mondays is like the grab bag episode? You can get an episode with me talking to you for an hour about things going on in the news, or you can have a special guest on, like Sholem Adeduenya. A lot of different episodes that could pop up into that, right? And then one of those is today. You're going to get me talking about some of these topics, and then we're going to move into a fun conversation with myself and Brett and Andrew Freed. And we talk about everything. One of the things we really talk about is this fascination with like how popular that Dahmer series is, and how we get, and not to discredit any of the performances, I'm sure they're awesome, but how we get how do you bring yourself to watch it? You know, knowing that it's real. And the same thing like true crime and all that stuff. It's like, why do we get so fascinated by that stuff? We have a really long conversation about it. So I'm very curious to get everybody's thoughts when that comes around, when that part of the interview comes around. So, and I hope you enjoy it because it's a good, and we laugh a lot. We really do. The three of us known each other for so long that we kind of goof off for a little bit of it, and it's nice to see Andrew having a good time goofing around too. Because he's a very busy man these days. I don't know how much time he has to kid around, but we did it. We kid around with him. Let's start right away with this. Superman, Black Adam, right? I think everybody kind of knew it from the Comic-Con thing. That everyone thought Henry Cavill's coming in. The relationship that I think that Henry Cavill and Rock's ex-wife, Danny Garcia, I believe, they have either the same publicist or the same manager, something along the lines like that. They know each other well. So, and The Rock has been friends with Henry Cavill for a while. This picture alone was taken back in like 2016. They've been talking for a long time. So this was inevitable that he was going to come back. And The Rock, the way he's just been teasing it, talking about it, even when you go into the Super Pets show, that they have that relationship, Superman, Black Adam, Superman's dog. It's like he's working up on it. And then I said this the other day. I remember I said it a few different days. I think the Warner Brothers Hall H mistake at Comic-Con was not just saying it was a Black Adam and Shazam panel. That was their biggest mistake. I know that inside of it, when you read the description, it said featuring the Warner Brothers stuff and a heavy presence on Black Adam and Shazam, but it didn't say that. So Warner Brothers Presents. It should have just said Black Adam and Shazam, because there were too many expectations on it. The expectations that Henry Cavill was going to be there was not Warner Brothers' fault at all. At all. I mean, they weren't even supposed to be there. I think it was like a last-minute thing I think that from what I heard is that The Rock really wanted to be there. Obviously, he showed up in the costume, and he's excited about this movie, as he should be. He's been working on it for years. And if these rumors and speculation and all that is true, and now the reports that Henry Cavill is going to come back, Superman have his own movie, why wouldn't you want to promote it all over the place and put it out there and get excited about it? He's doing all, and he's a promotional machine. You see, you always know when The Rock has a movie out, because The Rock's got a strong social presence in general, right? But like when he's got a movie out, you can't turn without seeing him, and that's the way. And because he gives good sound bites and he knows how it works overall. Like you look at whether it's I can't remember the dude who's got who has that clip right now that's going viral, that The Rock's basically said Black Adam is this force that is the most powerful thing on this planet, but the most powerful thing in the universe has been tucked away for the last 3 years. And the guy gets all excited and he's like, yes, kind of confirming that Rock's confirming Superman, right? And then our buddy Chris Van Vliet has him talking about like wrestling. He's talking about Roman Reigns and acknowledging Roman Reigns, the head of the table, and that clip goes out. The Rock knows the sound bites and what to say, because he knows, even when he's talking about wrestling, well, what's he talking about? He's talking about wrestling. What's he talking about wrestling for? Well, he's doing press for what? Black Adam. Oh, he knows. He's much of a businessman as he's a performer. So he promotes these things, and he knows, he knows everyone knows Superman is going to be involved in this thing one way or another. He knows it. He's paying attention to what people are saying. So it's not really a surprise anymore. It's inevitable. And the question is, what's the direction and how are they going to do it is the main thing that I want to know. Because I think that I love Man of Steel. I do. I love that movie. The question is, what I think that they made the big mistake of is they went straight into Batman v Superman, and they didn't give Superman his second movie. They didn't give Ben Affleck his first movie. That's the way they should have built that out. They tried too quick to do this big, massive event right now, and they shouldn't have done that. They should have built into it, and you would have gotten there eventually. But I hope that they do something where they give it, whether it's if it's a Man of Steel sequel or spinoff or a different type of thing, don't do the Black Adam versus Superman thing right away. Let Superman have his own movie again. and build to it, if that's the case. And how many movies did I get him for? So, smart move and I'll give him a Zaslav on this one. Smart move if he locked him in. That's how you got to do it. You got to get Henry Cavill back. That's gonna bring a lot of people onto your side, and you're signing him for a bunch of deals. And depending on if he shows up in Black Adam or not, how they're gonna do that and how they're gonna make that work. I think he'll show up, but how? Who knows? Whether it's in the movie, I doubt it. Probably a post-credit scene if I was gonna guess. But either way, how? I don't want it to be comedic. Like I want it to feel, and I want it to be memorable. And it doesn't seem like you're going to get a comedic scene inside of Black Adam, but like, I don't know. Very curious. I think it's a good move though. And you see how excited he's getting, how excited other people are getting about it. And it's a good way to get buzz for this movie. And I think because of it, I think Black Adam's going to do very well because of the inclusion of the Superman stuff. I think that's another reason why The Rock is so smart. He knows. Not that the Black Adam wouldn't have done well, but I think it'll do even better now because people are going to be like, oh, man, Henry Cavill, is Superman going to appear in this thing? I'm going to go check it out. Even if he's in it for 5 minutes, I think it's going to get people into the theater. Even if he's in it for 30 seconds, it's going to get people into the theater. Because I can guarantee you, if the movie is awesome, and then you tag it or Superman shows up, it becomes extra awesome. If the movie's just okay, and you tag it with Superman, you put Superman in it, it becomes awesome. So, smart. Very smart in general. I think it's a good move, and I think it's a very smart move by Warner Brothers to get him. You know what else is smart? You guys getting Athletic Greens. That's right, they're back, baby. They are back. I'm excited to have Athletic Greens back. I've been waiting for them. I've been using them. Have you been using them? People have been asking me, man, how do you help out the show? How do you help out the show? I say, thank you for wanting to help out the show. Help out yourself. How do you help yourself out? You get Athletic Greens. Why? Why should I get Athletic Greens? Well, I'm going to tell you. I started taking Athletic Greens months ago because I didn't have, I didn't like vitamins. I didn't want to take all the vitamins. Now I just take one big scoop of Athletic Greens every morning. Better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system. And I was not a pills and vitamins guy, nor am I. And it tastes really good. It's got like a fruity taste to it. It looks like, you're like, oh, this looks like grass. It's not grass. It might look like it. Smells wonderful, tastes wonderful. Take one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens and you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. And it starts your day off. It's great. I do it because it gives me that boost of energy that I need. It was spectacular. I was drinking it. Man, sure was. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. I promise you that. It supports better sleep quality and recovery. I sleep wonderfully every time I have some. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. It's easy to take. You shake it up in a bottle, or depending on what deal you get with them, they can send you something. But I do the water bottle. If you reclaim your health, you can do it now, and you arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop in water every day. That's all you got to do. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Links in the description. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I'm glad they're back because I'll tell you, I can't even tell you how many people told me, hey, you talked about Athletic Greens so much. I had to try it. I had to check it out, and you did. And so many people are signed up to it and got that deal. Don't miss out on that deal. And I promise you help yourself out and you help out the show. Let's scoot on over. Fear. Remember that movie? With Mark Wahlberg? Well, they're going to do a TV show, apparently. That's interesting. I didn't know that was going to happen. Who's doing that? I have to look. Fear. Wahlberg thriller Fear becomes a series. So how do you do a series out of this? So interesting. Peacock is reportedly developing a series that's set to be a modern reinvention of the Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon-led 1996 thriller Fear. The story follows two young lovers in a psychological game of cat and mouse, but who's the cat, who's the mouse? When David and Nicole first meet in Seattle, Feels like an epic once-in-a-lifetime romance. Soon it becomes clear that the seemingly perfectly couple is anything but. Told from the conflicting points of views, the series wrestles with personal demons, hidden agendas, and reframes the he said, she said, sounds like the Affair a little bit, into a twist-filled suspense story about toxic relationships. Jessica Goldberg is set to, I don't know how this works. Alyssa Milano, William Peterson, and Amy Brenneman co-star. Oh, no, I thought they were going to be in it. I don't know. I mean, like I said many times over, if it's written well, produced well, directed well, acted well, could be awesome. You could do one of those things like, who the hell knew the Fear series was going to be the best show on TV? It just doesn't, it's just not something that I'm like, I'm going to wait to hear about it from Roxy, you know, when she's doing her TV segments on Thursday. And she says, look, got to watch Fear. I mean, look, she's telling me to watch The Patient. I still haven't watched it. I want to surprise her, though. I want to try to watch it by Thursday. The Patient, at least a few of them, so I can tell that I watched them. We'll see. But Fear, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. The movie was good, and it was a cheesy late 90s movie. Silly at times. But a TV show? Like, I guess at that point, what do you need to call it Fear for? I mean, it's not like Fear is like this massive. I mean, it was a big enough hit, but is it one of those? Oh hell, dude, they're doing a Fear series. I don't know. Probably have a better chance of doing a scripted Fear Factor series at this point. Fear. I don't know. Weird IP to jump off of, but again, I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna shit on it yet. I don't know. I got to see it. But for me, I'm not that excited. I don't know. You guys might. This shot here, this is from The Boys. 2 new characters from The Boys, the new season, which is easily one of my favorite shows on television. Absolutely. So where's the, I want to get a little information here on The Boys. And on the show, well, I know the show on The Boys, but the actual, where the hell is it? Who the hell are these people? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to look at the information down here. Oh, here we go. 2 new heroes in The Boys season 4 photos. The first promo photos are out for the upcoming 4th season of Amazon Studios' dark comedy superhero satire, The Boys. The 2 shots are studio costume photos showcasing new to the series stars Susan Hayward as Sister Sage and Valerie Curry as Firecracker. Hayward Sage is dubbed someone who is already 1,000 steps ahead of you, while Firecracker has a short fuse. The pair joined stars Jack Quaid, Laz Alonso, Tomer Capone, Karen Fukuhara, and Carl Urban along Aaron Moriarty, Anthony Starr, Dominic McElliott, Jesse T. Usher, Chase Crawford, Nathan Mitchell, Claudia Dormant, and Colby Minifie. Filming on the 4th season began back in August and is expected to continue through early next year. It's exciting. I think to me it's more exciting the fact that it's just I know that we got more peeps coming. We got more peeps coming. We got a show coming. Next year is going to be crazy, man. Talked about that on was that on Thursday? When the hell was that? I don't even know anymore. Talked about all the movies. I think it was Thursday. Talked about all the movies that are coming out and all the TV shows that are coming out. Not only do you have The Boys season 4 coming out next year, you got The Mandalorian, you got Ahsoka, you got Secret Invasion, you got I think the Penguin series is coming out. I don't know. A lot of good stuff. So that's interesting. I was going to talk about, Quantum Leap. I don't know. Is anybody watching Quantum Leap, the new one? I don't. Is it any good? They order up the show's original 12, extending it to 18. So I guess it's doing well enough. It's become the Falls TV season's #1 new show in the 18 to 49 demographic and the top NBC series on Peacock. So I guess it's doing pretty good. It's got Ernie Hudson in it, so that's a sell for me. It's got its 4th episode tonight. Should I check it out? Who's watching Quantum Leap? I want to know. If you're checking out, if you're watching the new Quantum Leap, is it just like old people watching this show? I guess I'm old. So should I be watching this show? Let me know. I got to know. Please. Is it worth it? I don't know. Let's see. Jamie Lee Curtis, a Freaky Friday sequel. I guess they're making throw everything against the wall. At this point, you can put everything out there. I mean, Hocus Pocus got a sequel 30 years later. Jamie Lee Curtis has revealed that she has already written to Disney in regards to doing a follow-up to 2003's version of Freaky Friday. Curtis starred opposite Lindsay Lohan. The remake managed to... Oh, did it? Oh, right. At the time, it made $160 million at the worldwide. Appearing on The View to promote Halloween Ends. Asked her if she'd pitch Disney about a freaky sequel. She said, I've already written to them. My friends at Disney, I'm in their new Haunted Mansion movie. They are. He is. She is. Excuse me. Let me be the grandma. Let me be the old grandma who switches places. So then Lindsay gets to be the sexy grandma who's still happy with Mark Harmon and all the way as you would. Okay. It's a perfect Disney Plus movie. It wouldn't be a theater movie at this point. It's a perfect Disney Plus movie. If they can make Hocus Pocus 2, how'd that movie do? I don't even know. Not sure. Let's see what else we really talk about here. Oh, yeah. We'll bring this up. Let's see. I think this is where is it? The next one. Yeah, the Red Notice is going to get a sequel. I didn't love Red Notice. This is another thing, as I mentioned earlier, though. The Rock out there promoting. I guarantee it was The Rock that said something about what's happening with this, because he's out there doing interviews. So that would make sense. They're probably talking about that. Red Notice, Jumanji sequel. Yeah, it's got to be The Rock, obviously, if it's both of those. With the press rounds for Black Adam begun, those involved are talking of the film and, more importantly, other projects that they're working on. Beau Flynn, along with Hiram Garcia, are producers on many of Dwayne Johnson's blockbusters of the past near decade. So I was wrong. I wasn't. Speaking with Collider, they were the ones that said it. We have Red Notice 2 script and then Red Notice 3. Plan is, hopefully, if Hiram and I have our way, we would make those movies back to back. But it's got to be the scripts and how we feel and how Dwayne, Gal, and Ryan feel about them. But that franchise is a blast, and obviously Netflix wants it. Yeah, and then they talked about how it costs over $200 million. Jumanji 3 is definitely going to happen. Obviously, Jake Kasdan is directing Red 1, so right now he's working on that. Okay, we'll see both of those movies. I think that's a guarantee. I really loved... as I was reading that, I was wondering, did I ever see Jumanji 2? I feel like I did. Did I? I don't know if I ever saw the second one. I saw the first one. I definitely saw the first one. And I love the first one. Well, obviously not the first one with Robin Williams, but the first one with Dwayne Johnson. I might not have ever seen the second one. I don't think I did. I never did. Holy shit. Huh. Any good? Look, I'm talking to you today. I'm asking you guys the two major fucking questions that you need to answer. Put everything down. Put that bowl of spaghetti down, and I want to know right now, should I be watching Quantum Leap? That's part one. And part two, should I have seen Jumanji 2 with The Rock? And did I see it? First of all, did I see it? I want you to tell me if I saw it. Let me know, because I can't remember. And I'm so damn old that I can't remember. I should definitely be watching Quantum Leap. And the truth is, I probably watched the first 4 episodes in Quantum Leap, and I can't remember. How about that? You ever think about that? Well, now you did. You bet on it. Because if you like betting, MyBookie. Ladies and gentlemen, MyBookie. I'm excited. I love having MyBookie. They're fantastic. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you did not know about MyBookie, I'm going to tell you about it. Your favorite athletes always strive to put themselves in the winning position. And it's about time you did too. And you do it with MyBookie. Ha! MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill all your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere. Bet on the NFL, the MLB playoffs, like Aaron Judge, boom, home run, there it goes. Or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, the time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at MyBookie. Use that promo code, Big Thing. Ha! And claim your deposit match of any amount up to $1,000. That's right. Again, Big Thing. Ha! To claim your bonus. Experience sports in a whole new light and make this season a winning one. You bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. It's always nice to have Arnold come in here and do our reads for us. He's a busy man. So to have him do that is wonderful. Yeah, man. So that's it. That's the stuff. Oh, The Last of Us. We'll do that. Is that the one is that it? No, that's Quantum Leap. We talked about that. Oh, Austin Powers. Shit, there's a lot of things that I guess Mike Myers said he would be up for Austin Powers, a new one. Okay. I mean, I can only imagine he was doing the press for Amsterdam. Disappointment. But he said, I don't have anything to announce. I can neither confirm or deny the existence or non-existence of such a project. Yeah, I'd love to do it. Of course, it's fun. I have 3 kids under the age of 11. I've been super, super busy being dad. I'll see what I can do, Jimmy Fallon. I guess he was talking to Jimmy Fallon about it. Yeah, at this point, bring him back. And it's the same answer to everything. Streaming opens up a world. Like, if Mike Myers like, hey, Netflix, I want to do Austin Powers. How does Netflix not do an Austin Powers movie? How does Amazon not do an Austin Powers movie? Like, that's a difference now with back then. I remember, like, back in the day, I remember, like, when when Stallone was trying to get Rocky 6 made, but way before Rocky Balboa, and nobody would do it with him because 5 bombed, or it didn't bomb, it was Rocky 5, and it's not a good movie. And he had problems for a while, and back then, couldn't make movies. If the last one didn't do well, nobody wants to see it. No chance. Now it's like, even if a movie didn't do great on this last one, it's like, if Stallone, if the streaming was the way that it was now, Stallone does that movie and says, hey, I want to do Rocky 6. They're gonna go, I'll tell you what, we can't do it in the theater, but we'll put it on Prime. We'll put it on wherever he's working with a lot of Paramount Plus, whatever. We'll put it wherever you want. We'll do a Rocky 6. Do it for limited or for a lesser budget, and that's it. And that would happen today because it's IP. And Austin Powers will happen. If Mike Myers wants to do it, might not come out in the theater unless it's. But there's also people, and I'm not saying Mike Myers is this way, but there's also people that will not budge unless it's a theater movie. And I think those people are. Some of them are silly sometimes. I don't know if an Austin Powers movie for the studio is worth trying to get out into the theater, because right now it's not a sure bet like it used to be. Comedies in the summertime, right? It's like those aren't the movies that pop big in theaters right now. It's like, look at Smile. Smile is just destroying, but it's like the horror movies that do well still. People want to be scared. I bet you Halloween Ends does very well. I bet you it does very well in the theater. But yeah, and then it's the superhero movies and the big budget IPs and those things. So I think Austin Powers should come out on streaming, but we'll see. All right, before you throw to that interview with Andrew, here it is. This is The Last of Us, and this is that interview. I don't know, somebody asked the stars if they played the game, and people are like, no, we didn't play. And I don't know if people are up in arms or not about it, but this was Bella Ramsey, who plays the female lead of Ellie in the show, said she was encouraged not to play the game upon the first season of the show is heavily based on. She says, after my first audition, they kept saying, have you played it? And I said, no, and they said, keep it that way. I did watch some of the gameplay, though, on YouTube just to get a sense of it, but I'm so excited for it to come out. It was such a big part of my life. I shot it for a whole year, and it's quite a long time when you've only lived for 19 years. The actress best known for her work in Game of Thrones. Most recently, I didn't realize, is that? Oh, yeah, just look at her. Just right away. Didn't pick that up until right now. Looking at the picture, I know exactly who she played on Game of Thrones. Stupid asshole me. Anyway, so the actress best known for her work in Game of Thrones and most recently seen in Lena Dunham's new film, Catherine called Birdie, says her co-star shared a moment with her once they wrapped together. Pedro Pascal wrote a little card to me and said, how interesting that something so huge and life-changing could happen so early in your life and so late in mine. I thought it was a really sweet observation. I had the best time. Pascal has also said he hadn't played the source material, only briefly watching his nephew play it for a brief time, and admittedly found it visually impressive. I mean, I hope nobody gets upset about that. Who cares? And what I liked her answer. I watched some of the stuff on YouTube, some of the story stuff. That's more so that I would want to know. Do you know the story? Did you pay attention to any of the story? Do you know the bits? And the same with Pedro Pascal. It's like, did he know it? Did he not? I think it's more about, and again, I've never played Last of Us, so I'm not going to be as critical as someone who's like a hardcore fan. And this doesn't take anything from those people who played it, because you're invested for a reason, so you have the right to be critical on it, right? It might not be the show you thought it was, or it might be exactly the show you thought it was going to be. But I don't think that the fact that those two actors didn't play it at all should detract your excitement for it. It should be like, if you're looking into it, you should say, okay, I couldn't even tell because it didn't really matter. Does it matter if it? Yeah, Joel, I think, is the character's name. I've heard it enough. So Joel, if he lands and nails the character of Joel in the way that it felt in the game, are you going to care? I don't think so. All right, listen, we got a lot more to talk about. This is going to be a long, supersized episode today. Andrew Freed, producer of Chef's Table Pizza, Chef's Table, Cheer. We need to talk about Cosby, Val, Welcome to Wrexham. The list goes on and on and on and on. Myself and Brett Sheridan have known him for a very long time. He had so much fun on the podcast last time. He came to my birthday dinner, and he was like, hey, I want to do it again. I was like, well, I got a spot next week. You want to come in? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So he came in. So that's it. So that's what you're about to see. The rest of the episode is going to be us goofing around, having a good time. I hope you enjoy it. There you go. All right, you guys, you heard him last time. You loved him. And why wouldn't you? He is the one and the only Brett Sheridan. What's up, buddy?
Hey!
Nice to see you.
Oh, look at this guy.
Did you like that setup? Did I get you on that one? I got you on that. Andrew Freed is back, everybody. Andrew Freed is back. Nice to have you back. Yeah, nice to have you back.
Thanks.
Oh, look at that
Nice
shot.
to be back.
Thank you.
Look at us.
Well, we talked about it. We had a nice little birthday dinner last week, and we sat down at a tiramisu by myself.
I was the youngest of the three of us there.
I don't think you and I were probably the oldest. Is that true?
I'm
Oh,
saying
no.
the three of us.
Out of the three. Oh, yes.
I'm
The oldest friend.
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is true.
I'm rarely in rooms where I'm the youngest.
You got it now. So we started talking. We started talking about the podcast, and you said how much fun you had last time. So we said, let's do it.
Yeah, I love it.
So I wanted to ask you.
I
What's that?
wasn't here with Brett.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was Kate last time. And so we traded out the Kate and Brett show. We have we have the other half. We have the better half.
Yeah, I missed my show today because of you.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah, did that for you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so
Isn't
much.
that nice?
Or maybe I was moving to television. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me ask you.
A lot of work going on in the studio
What do you think?
since
What
I've
do-
been here.
what do you think about the studio?
So many changes.
You like?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like it's profesh.
Yeah. And you said that we need a mirror.
Well, I was just suggesting that on the way in, when
Yeah.
people are getting ready to be on camera, am I sitting in the right place? Should I be?
Yeah,
Should I be
yeah.
a little bit more center?
Your center. Hold on.
Okay, because I liked where I was.
He just made you not center again.
I liked where I was.
Now, see, I can't. Yeah, you're not. You see, there you go. Perfect.
Oh, okay, good.
We're doing great.
Yeah, this is great.
We're doing great.
But yeah, when you're walking in to be on camera, a mirror for your last looks might be a nice feature.
I think it works. Yeah.
I like that.
A little self-conscious.
It makes sense. It makes sense, and I think that because what we started doing, it's coming up like portion by portion. It's as this part of the wall is now done, and it's starting to come along. We have a couch over there, and then we started looking at that wall. We hear the couch. We were looking at that wall, going, eventually we'll get to it. Now we've made it. It's like that portion of the video game that we've made. We're at that wall. And you're really gonna color it a nice yellow, not a mustard yellow.
No, it's called Sail.
Okay.
Sail.
You're not going to replicate the fake brick,
How do you know it's fake?
the turquoise.
You don't like my turquoise wall? Look at that.
Yeah, no, it works.
Andrew said I was going to get sued by the artist.
I didn't say that. I just wondered if you've done anything for the painter of the Pyomai.
You want to know the honest answer behind that? Is that I bought it, and I said, I really love what this guy did, and I couldn't tell you for the life of me who did it. I have to go back and look through my email. It's the honest answer.
Yeah, no,
It's a good answer,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well, not really.
sure that'll work out.
I said in the beginning of the intro that this Dahmer show is doing so well. And before I ask you your opinion on why that is, I have another Netflix question that I wanted to ask. I think that we talked about briefly when you were here, but I don't remember. So Netflix does, as you know, bulk. Chef's Table Pizza comes out. You can watch the whole season just like that. Now, they did that before you got into this whole streaming wars with Disney and Amazon, and they're doing the week by week, and their water cooler shows that are coming out all of the time. For someone like yourself as a creator, do you prefer the bulk or do you prefer the week by week?
Yeah, I don't spend an awful lot of time thinking about it, but this is a good opportunity to think about it.
Yeah.
It has been, Welcome to Wrexham has been very different for us, right? That is coming out every week and Wednesday night on FX. Like it's been a cool thing, which is different because the vast majority of the work that we've done is just sort of dropped at once.
Yeah.
And then we have the big brunch coming out on HBO Max.
That's week by week.
Excuse me, they're doing 3 releases.
Okay.
So it's like the first 3 episodes and then 2 episodes and then 2 episodes,
Okay.
I think. Like, so how do I feel about it? I think it all leads to different connection and different relationship with the audience. I think if you drop them all at once, you give the you give the optionality to the audience. Otherwise, you're sort of controlling it differently, which feels weird. Like I think I said last time that Ted Lasso, I save up.
Right. Right.
I don't want to watch them one at a time. They're released one at a time, and that's actually like I want to watch 8 at a time. And so I wait. I save them.
See, a lot of people do that, but I just think for keeping with the competition that's out there right now, I think the shows you do are different. I think that you guys can benefit. That's probably why you don't care as much, because I think it's like, for example, I'm watching Chef's Table Pizza, and I watch it, and I'm like, I don't need to watch it week by week because I know that I have it. I go, oh, you know what? I really want to watch that next episode because I'm not losing anything by missing one the next week or whatever. When you're in something like House of the Dragon, and that's every week, I'm at the edge of my seat watching that show every week, going, okay, I can't wait to see it, and it's in the conversation, and it's always being talked about. It's trending and all that. Something like Cobra Kai comes out, which I love as well. It's in the conversation for a month, for when it's number one for as long as it is, and then it kind of now there's more competition because there's week by week. Even Lord of the Rings, which is to me an inferior show to Cobra Kai, to be honest with you, as far as quality goes. It's weird that I say that considering it's a $50 million per episode, but as far as my enjoyment of it goes, so I don't know. I just think the conversation has changed a lot with how I think Netflix should stop doing it. I really do. I think it should week by week. But when I think about your shows, I don't necessarily think that you could do both.
It's show Pacific.
Yeah.
It's show Pacific.
Pacific.
Is that your next one you're doing? Show Pacific?
Show
Yeah.
Pacific.
Surf.
Who's in that one, Brett? Brett, you watched the first episode of Show Pacific. Who was in that one?
Oh, that was Gary Farnsberg.
Yeah.
And he's a new up and comer, but then there's also they had Teddy DeGrassi.
Right.
And
Is that the one with the bad hip?
Yeah, he's got the bad hip, and it's kind of a House ripoff because he's
Right.
taking pills all the time.
Right.
And but his bedside manner is not what you would call.
Not great.
That's my favorite.
Take you back to the Acme days.
Yeah, I like that.
So for people who don't know, myself, Andrew, and Brett were in the Acme Comedy Club back in the early 2000s.
Do either of you remember the name of our improv group? I don't.
Shoot, I
don't. I wish I did, but I don't.
did because
It's on a hard drive.
Yeah,
somewhere.
All I'll say is I'm not going to call the person out, but Freed and I used to laugh all the time because we would do these experiments. You know exactly what I'm going to say, don't you? And so there was this particular guy that and every time, no matter what the scene was, smoking a cigarette. Could be whatever it was. He'd come out and be like, I got to walk the dog in 10 minutes. Anybody make some eggs for me? Who's flying the plane?
I did improv in New York with somebody who everything started with just cleaning, like space work cleaning. So it's just like whatever scene it was, just.
I was always a fan.
Did you hear Carol was
space work
fucking wrong?
Cooking.
Yeah, cooking.
It's
Right.
always.
That was it.
Yes, honey?
We would cry laughing because every time. Do you remember that?
And the smoke, the fake smoking was like
Intense.
Oh.
It was intense. Yeah, yeah.
Hardcore.
It was a hardcore. It was
Charlie was in the shit.
it was before smoking wasn't cool.
Yeah.
I remember one time.
Or it was cool.
I remember one time that it actually started, and he was sitting, and he went to use a remote. And I remember you and I looking at each other like, he has started with
smoking.
this, and then he went.
You'll switcherooski.
I remember that. Poor bastard. He was probably right now. He's probably sitting home smoking a cigarette. Anyway.
Fake smoking it. Space work smoking a cigarette.
He really is. But
It's like the Michael Scott with always having a gun in every
I
scene.
love that so much.
it's so good. It's so good.
Kills everybody.
But but besides that, I mean,
It's like this. What did he just whisper to you?
Said he has a gun.
I love that.
That's really good. But no, I think you're right, Brad. I think it is case by case as far as those.
Show Pacific.
Let's talk about Lord of the Rings. Let's just bring it back to Lord of the Rings.
You like that Lord of the Rings? you big Harfoot fan?
Yeah, you like the gladiator.
Can I just say what? No much. Let's see how good you are at it. What's your favorite part about the Harfoots? What do you like about the Harfoots the best?
The ears.
Not the feet. People usually go the feet.
The feet are
It's
crazy.
usually the feet or the cock. That's
The ears. I really love the ears. But it's crap.
Oh, man.
not,
For how much money they're putting into
It's
it?
not
Come
even
on.
as good as Cobra Kai.
Not
that's
1
the
ounce of karate.
That's
in
the
the
headline
whole-
now. That's it. No karate by the Harfoots.
Yeah.
We need Harfoot karate. Oh man, it's one of these shows. I love it.
This economy. And then the switch over to the...
It's going to be the bet now. Everybody's going to be doing that at home, watching this show, taking a fake puff of nothing. Poor bastard. Guy's done the improv in 15 years.
Yeah.
There are people from that group, though, that
Do well.
yeah.
Really well. Yeah,
Heather
really well.
Campbell.
Yeah, really well. I
She's
remember.
like a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. She was great. I can't remember the name of that damn group. Anyway, so going back to what you had said, I think that you're right that it is case by case for sure when it comes to bulk, or I just think more, to me, episodic scripted television when it benefits you when you're in the conversation.
Well, here's the thing, right? And maybe this is the right conversation to have, which is, what are the goals of the programmers, right? Like, do they want just quantitative numbers? Do they need to hit their numbers? Do they need to get those viewers and completers? You know, that's a big term. You need completers. It's not about the starters. It's about the completers. So is that what's important to you? Or like a show like Chef's Table is an anthology, right? It's closed-ended. That's sort of not how shows are programmed anymore on the scripted or unscripted side. They need to pull you through. They need to, have completers.
Yeah.
You cherry pick Chef's Table, right? There's 6 episodes. I'm going to watch that one. I'm going to watch that one. I haven't watched Japan yet, or I haven't watched, which is how people watch things.
That's what I'm doing for the pizza one right now. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, not the pizza. Chef's Table pizza.
The pizza show.
The pizza show.
So, but they want completers. I would argue that completion is less important than, like, that's my favorite show. There are people who come to me and say, Chef's Table's my favorite show. And if you actually ask them how many they watch, like, probably 70% of them.
Yeah.
But they have a deep connection with it.
Right.
And so that feels meaningful to me. And so I think the first question is, what does success look like for you? Do you want people to binge it? Well, then you better release it all at once. Do you want to extend the conversation over time?
Right.
That probably has a lesser intensity to it. Like Wrexham, when that show launched, it was hot.
Right.
Now we're several weeks later, and I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but people are still excited about it, but the billboards are down.
Right.
Like Atlanta billboards are up now. So I don't know what is more important for networks, and it's probably a case by case.
I think it is case by case. I think that's why I said scripted. When it comes to scripted, I think for the stuff that you're doing,
He might know his stuff.
what's that?
He might know his
He
stuff.
might know. He might have a career in this
That's
business.
weird. It's weird. That's why he's not nickel and diamond people.
No.
If you could Amazon choice me, what's the Amazon list?
The Amazon
thing?
wish list.
Oh, Amazon wish list.
list.
What's
Yeah.
it like? What's it like being you, Frank?
I know, it's true.
I'd like a new bomber jacket on Amazon.
On
wish
Amazon
list.
like, I haven't
wish
seen
list.
any
Do you
of
need it
these
for the
shows.
studio? If you need it for the studio, then
Perhaps
we
an
can
arcade game.
Yeah.
Well, we got a few of those up there. Either
you're not counting money. What do you do?
What do? You got a video game of choice? If not, can you send us our way?
I don't know about these shows. I'm just, it's like, no, the money's not going to count. It's
Remember Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah, when you're not bathing yourself in cash.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to do that. Somebody tried to Scrooge McDuck into a pile of coins and things like that.
Broke their asshole.
Yeah.
I bet that.
Yeah, I'm sure that. A lodged coin in there.
DuckTales.
Woo, something's going to my rectum. But I do think for scripted, I do think that it's more when you have this kind of competition, you have to be in the conversation, especially inside like the geek space. You have to be in the conversation because
For a while, you're saying extended.
yeah, because up top, like Stranger Things, I think as popular as that show was, massive. I think it would have been 10 times as popular if it was week to week with all this stuff. It probably would have been shot differently because I don't know. Do you watch Stranger Things? Yeah, but it had about a
program.
Yes, it's a good program. But they had the episodes were like an hour and a half each this time. The shorter episodes, but they were, and then the final one was like 2.5 hours. They wouldn't have done it that way if it was week to week, I think. But if you do that show week to week for, oh shit, that just happened to so and so, what the hell's going to happen next week?
So that's your preference.
It wasn't though. It never used to be.
Well, sure it did, because it's old school, right? You
Yeah.
think back to The Sopranos. You think back to things like that you loved.
Yeah, but
like,
I'm talking about since when streaming came out. I remember when I was at Collider and this conversation came up, and I was like, well, when those Star Wars shows come out, or these other things given me, I want it. Basically, what you just said about
you want
Lasso.
the choice. Mm-hmm. Oh no,
Well, you said Lasso. You're like giving me all right now. And I said when the shows that I want to watch come on, I want it all now. And it's before all this streaming, like the streaming wars and the competition came out, because it's like there's so much out there. It's hard to. The other show that I started watching on Netflix was Sandman, and I really enjoyed that show a lot. And I started watching it, and then all this other stuff came out, and it's different because I cover a lot of this stuff too, so it's my work. But I love Sandman, but it fell by the wayside because it wasn't week by week. It was all the stuff in one. I can go back and watch it.
Did you finish it?
Didn't. I never finished it. I have to go back to it, and it's
Interesting.
That happens to us all the time because of the things that you just
it's so
dump
available.
a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're out.
And then we jump onto another one, or we watch this, and
it's easier to do the week by week because it's like, when it comes to whether it's even like She-Hulk, which I'm not necessarily really enjoying, but it comes out that week. I know I watch it in the morning. It's a half an hour show. I digest it. I talk about it on the show, and then I move on. So I don't know. I think Netflix always did the just dump it now because they could do that, and there was no other competition. I think now with the competition, I think they're going to change it.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're going to change it.
I mean, cassette tapes are coming back. I mean,
A lot of retro stuff.
Yeah.
Record players came back a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's true.
Vinyl.
Yeah. I want to know what the youngsters. Think about the
Vinyl.
week to week.
Yeah. I remember vinyl. Yeah. But the other question I was
Deep
which is more in the
tones.
side of
I'll tell you this on that
Yes,
week
go
to week
ahead.
thing, that I got into Succession during the pandemic and just plowed through them, right? Like watched all of them in 6 days.
Right.
And now it's the first season coming out of like proper Succession, and I'm gonna have to watch once a week, and
you will.
and I will,
Right.
But it's a different thing.
Well, when you
Yes.
and I first met, it was Sopranos and it was West Wing. Those were the two, and I would go to your place, and we would do that. But it was real. But the other thing I did want to jump into when it comes to
Lord of the Rings. Let's talk about Lord of
no
the
more.
Rings.
Well, we can go Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
podcast if you will. But we were talking
Trying to be
about.
so serious.
What? Yeah, no, it's true. Well, but I have questions. I mean, the audience also wants to know.
Oh yeah, we gotta.
You got to ask him.
They don't know that we're just trying to. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. You don't even know. It's like
No,
what are you observing?
I'm like, oh, Freed's coming in. It's
Yeah, I thought
It's
we'd
just not-
yuck
my
it
old
up.
buddy Freed.
Well, we
Do you
can
have a
but
game? Can we play a game?
I don't want to play games, but what do we do? I want to ask you
Win
questions.
prizes?
yeah.
I'll give you the arcade. You want the
gotta-
arcade?
I want to play for the arcade.
You want to play for the arcade? Would you take it in your car on the way back? Would you tie it like you would a Christmas tree?
Yeah. Yes, and then I'd have it delivered.
By Brett. Brett would deliver it on his back, sweating.
Take that too.
Thanks for the tree, young man.
Flip me a tuppence.
Yeah. Tuppence is also a callback from, I think that's from the group as well. I think Tuppence absolutely made an appearance in that group. And a good Tuppence reference in
Brett used to sort of break out into
yeah.
Screaming also.
Yeah, screaming is your go-to, but you have a good yell. Yeah. So the yell works. Yeah, so the yell absolutely works. People love.
That's just my own nervousness. Anyway,
it was. He gets nervous around you now.
Yeah.
Well,
it's very nervous.
Wow.
What an asshole he is, by the way. At the dinner, Brett makes a joke and goes, Freed, you're making the big bucks. Why don't you pay? And Freed goes, I assume that's why I was invited. Fucking asshole.
I assume He's just so used to it.
He's just used to it. He's like, I was planning on it because he was shocked. People started paying. He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, is this one of those?
It's hilarious. It's funny. Can I ask you a real question?
I was about ready to put out a true friends Facebook post after this.
MySpace hat?
Yeah. Who are my real friends?
Yeah, it's the truth. All right, let's switch for a second. We'll try to be serious. I think it's impossible. I have questions because someone I saw something recently about with the shows that you're working on, but podcasting in general. What I've noticed is a switch with celebrity-driven kind of podcasts and celebrity-driven, and even when it comes to shows that you're doing, right? So if you look at a show like Wrexham, where you have the two.
Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah, welcome to Wrexham. I can't say Wrexham.
Yeah.
The pizza show. But welcome. You look at the two stars that you have for that you used to sell the show.
Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney.
Okay, the two stars.
Yeah.
Both stars of the show. All right. So, but you used both those guys to sell the show. But you use them in the marketing, right? It's their show. You use them in the marketing. But like the thing is, and it's celebrity-driven stuff that really pushes more so than even just the content itself, right? That's always been a thing, whether it's movies and everything too. But like, do you see more of that now? Because a lot of time, is it easier to sell through a premise, or do you need celebrity-driven stuff?
Well, I would say, I didn't want to interrupt you because I wanted to listen.
Yes.
But the note that I would have even about the question is that nobody's using the celebrities to market anything. In the case of Welcome to Wrexham, in the case of some of the other celebrity-driven shows, well, but that's part of the DNA of the thing, right? Like, it's important to them. It's something that they really want to do. They're on the poster for it, because.
But when I say use, though, but you have to. They're an asset. They're
the asset,
right?
Rob McElhaney came up with the idea to buy a soccer team and make a documentary about it.
Right.
Of course he'll be on the billboard. And of course, once he, brought his friend Ryan into it, he'll be on the billboard also.
Right.
Jeremy, we have a show called Renovations that comes out on Disney Plus in January. Jeremy Renner, hoards decommissioned municipal vehicles, ambulances, buses. He just hoards them on his ranch in Tahoe. And so this was him renovating them and giving them to different charities for different uses, an art bus, a water salinization thing, the whole thing. Anyway, they are the idea. If there was no Jeremy Renner who does that already and who wanted to make a show about that, we wouldn't be like, all right, we got this renovating show that we need to, find somebody else to anchor. So, yeah, that is a huge part of the business now. People have different creative agency than they used to. The Big Brunch with Dan Levy is the same thing.
You should look at the Val thing, right? The Val, Val alone, having the idea that it's different if there's somebody, an unknown person who's got all this great footage that's very fascinating. It's not as fascinating as if Val Kilmer has it. It's just
I think we do a nice mix, right?
Yeah.
We also make Cheer, which is about regular people. We make Last Chance U. We have another season of Last Chance U coming out. I hope I'm not breaking news or anything, but
if you are, it's great for us.
Yeah, it's good for us.
I'm so glad that'll work out for you.
Yeah, that's true.
These are real people, real stories, and so I think it's nice to have a mix. And I think that documentary has definitely gone mainstream Hollywood in many ways as well.
Well, that was more so what I meant though too, because do you find it?
You could have said that.
Do you find it harder though for something like Cheer? Is it a harder sell to, whether it's the networks, whether it's the marketing, than it is to do something like Welcome to Wrexham, because you have two big stars.
I think especially during times of like fear,
Yeah.
you want to be packaging sure things. People are scared. There's been, correction in the marketplace. Stocks have dropped. Places have consolidated. It's a weird time in what we all do and the business behind what we all do. And so as you can stack elements on top of each other, it becomes safer and less risky for the buyers, and we try to do that for them. So yes.
You mentioned beforehand how it mainstream, the documentaries in general have become. One of the things inside of that was whether it's true crime, which we talked about last time, and part of true crime is even scripted now. And as I mentioned in the beginning with Dahmer, right? Like that's like incredible. I can't watch it.
No, I can't either.
watch it. And it's number one. People love it. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but
can't.
No, it's because it's real, right? And because these things happen. And I think that Evan Peters looks awesome in the role. Like he looks really just locked into it. But why do you think that show? Because a lot of people feel I can't watch this, tough,
Yeah.
but tons of people did. Why are people so fascinated with Jeffrey Dahmer still now to watch him in a scripted show? I'm just curious what your opinion is.
I wish I had an awesome answer for that. I'm sort of curious what you guys think too. Like, what I've come to appreciate is there's a brand of television, and this doesn't apply here, but I just didn't know about this like a few weeks ago, right? Like where some of the types of TV that we don't really do a ton of, people watch to feel better than them. People watch some of this like train wreck stuff to feel better about themselves. I never really spent much time thinking about that, and I didn't realize that. But that's interesting to sort of note, right? The other thing that I think of is that, like, as a documentary storyteller, I'm acutely aware of the fact that, like, all documentaries are about obsession, right? Like, it's just where you find interesting things is, like, people who are obsessed with something. So there's something about that obsession ingredient that sort of is in there, but like what makes people want to watch things about serial killers? I honestly don't know, but
Forever.
Yeah.
My wife explained to me why, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure she heard this on an NPR, but she said that a lot of women watch these things as a way to figure out if they were put in these situations, how to get out of them. And it's almost like a research for
But that's so dark,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
They're still dark. It's something done in private. I think, imagine if that movie were released in movie theaters. Would that be like the big, notwithstanding that like there's no stars in it or anything like that, but like it's not, it's something you watch in your pajamas. It's something you watch under the covers. It's,
Well, that's a lot of these movies now, especially, well, and that's a good conversation to have too. When you talk about the darker movies, even a movie like Seven, which is a tremendously popular movie, that movie didn't do like 100 or whatever, like $500 million in the box office. It did good, but it didn't do like.
well, it wasn't meant to be that. Again,
Right,
back to like what's
but no. But that's right.
Yeah.
But that's exactly right. That's the whole point. Is that because you know from when you're structuring that movie out, you know you're going to have a certain amount of audience that's going to come and watch it in the theater, but most likely they're going to watch it at that time Blu-ray, whenever it was, because people don't feel comfortable watching it in the theater. And it's like a lot of people went to the movies to feel good. But that movie's it's just a fascinating movie.
I was in the front row for that.
That movie,
Wow.
it was
terrible.
Were you in the front
great
row?
movie,
but you were in the front row.
That's
front
the worst.
row.
Can't
never
do it.
forget
Looking
that.
up, yeah, right. But you're right. It's like now because of the true crime stuff, everything else too, and I think true crime also probably helped Dahmer tremendously. Also, because people are like, oh, okay, let's see how much, because Netflix does these things.
Yeah.
How much fact is actually put into it now? Learning more about it. There's a younger generation that probably didn't even really know about them, just kind of, heard. And then it's like the idea, I think what it is, one of the answers is everybody's got a dark side, but not that dark. Everybody's a dark side, but not that dark. And when you look at, you wonder and you're curious, like, where can the brain go, and how broken of a brain to do those things, and that really happened. Like I just watched a trailer and I was like, I'm good.
It's also Stranger Than Fiction, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so as a reader, I'm not really much of a reader, but as a reader, like I read nonfiction. The idea of reading fiction to me is like,
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why you make the stuff you do too.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I think that that's stranger than fiction. That like because if somebody wrote that character, they'd like get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
That you would sit down
This Stephen King
on
again.
a blank piece of paper and write some kind of story like
Right.
this. You should see someone.
Yeah.
But it's real. It happened. So,
Yeah.
like, some of that.
I think that's what that really, and Roxy was on, we were talking last week, and she's like, that one of the things that really is the problem, she's watching The Patient, right, which is also about a serial killer, but it's scripted. So when I said to her, why can you watch that so easily, but you can't watch Dahmer? She's like, because Dahmer's real.
Yeah.
Oh, she can't watch.
I think that was
Yeah.
the answer when we
Yeah,
when I
real
asked her.
is crazy. And stranger than fiction is true.
Yeah.
Like, that happens. We run into it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, if we had written it this way.
Would you ever go down that road, though, if someone came in and pitched something along those lines? Like, because we were talking about, like, Chef's Table, right? And I had asked you if you were, because we had gotten a pizza at the table, and I was like, do you find yourself, like, reviewing pizza all the time? He's like, not really. It's if someone says something particular, but, like, he was around it all the time. He's with all these people. And you can't help yourself that you become the world that you're in. Mm-hmm. Knowing that, if someone came and pitched something like this that was a great idea inside of this kind of world, could you find yourself going down, that path? Because he did it with Cosby, obviously, but that's not the same. But it's still a very dark place.
Well, all the projects are different, and
Yeah.
they all require different things from me personally, right? So would I want to every day be living in that kind of world? I don't know.
Yeah.
I worked for Joe Berlinger for a long time back in New York, and he's the king of this stuff.
Yeah. How much were you involved in a lot of this stuff, the projects?
Well, I didn't do those things with him.
Right.
I worked on Iconoclast with him.
Right.
I sort of was around him for different things, but he's the master at this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't live with it the way he lives with it.
Right.
Honestly.
That's why I asked you, because I know you well enough to where I just feel like it would affect you.
But as a company, as an organization,
Right.
we have projects that range topics, and
I meant more so you, though.
yeah,
I think.
no. I go so hard when I'm making something as a director. I go so hard for the exact period of time that it is required, and then I'm sort of out. Like, I check out of it,
Yeah.
and I need to be able to do that. So I don't.
It's a tough one.
That wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But the Cosby doc that W. Kamau Bell directed, that I felt, really close to in its ideation and in its execution, it was hard. It was hard because, so many reasons. Our personal connection to the material. Like, I knew what section of Bill Cosby himself I wanted in the doc before we even realized where it was going to go, because I knew the thing by heart. And there were sections of this. I remember once watching a rough cut, and sometimes when you're watching a rough cut, you're carrying a laptop places.
Yeah.
I remember the laptop sitting on my counter in the kitchen, and me like eating a bag of chips or something, and my earphones were in, and I'm just sort of watching it, and I'm laughing, and I'm just like, and I sort of caught my reflection in the mirror, and it's like, that is not the face I should be having when I'm watching this show. But the reality was, it was all of that. It was so terrible. And yet he brought so much, so many smiles. So that was harder. That was harder. And then you also realize these things last forever. And so the weight of this was far more on Kamau's shoulders than on mine. But my name's on there forever too. And so it's like, how do we dial this right so that you feel this way? Yeah, that's actually the exact level of conflict you're supposed to feel, at least in parts of the thing, right?
We missed I didn't miss it, but a lot of people missed a great conversation that happened, and I wanted to let you know that did not go unnoticed with both my wife and Andrew. I brought up, my wife didn't know that Andrew had produced. We need to talk about Cosby, and I brought it up, and my wife goes, "Oh, I don't want to talk about Cosby anymore." And Freed looks at her and he goes, "We need to talk about it."
We need to.
But he said it like that. But he said it he wasn't cracking a joke. He was saying it in a way. It went right over my wife's head. But I didn't want to let you know that it did not go over. I caught it immediately, and I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what makes it so terrible is that all the joy that he brought. You know, like this Dahmer wasn't bringing joy to people.
No.
So that's why it's less
straight
interesting
up,
to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I get it. And I think that, but that's the other thing that you said, that with the company as it's growing, it's building, it's not to say that there aren't producers that wouldn't be able to work on that type of stuff. We
have a project. Jordy's been working on a project for a while that hasn't happened yet, but
darker.
Dark as fuck.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was asking more specifically to you, because like I said,
Jordy Wynn.
Jordan Wynn. Yeah.
That's who I was talking about for reference.
Who I've also known for a very long time. But so the things that you are working on, obviously, we've talked about it. What are the projects that you are not working on that you want to be working on? What type of stuff do you want to start working on?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, right? You want to do a Lord of the Rings doc?
Definitely. And I want to do a doc about Lord of the Rings called We Need to Talk About Harfoots.
Yes.
Because we do.
We do.
What do I
want to work on?
I get jealous of projects out there all the time, and I think that that's healthy. I think that that's like motivating for me.
For like you basically saying, "Oh my God, I wanted to do that," and that person's doing it.
Well, it's just like, "Oh, that is so fucking good."
Yeah.
How did I not?
What's
think of
one
that?
of those? Can you tell me one of those? What did you hear that came across and you're like, "Ah, fuck! I wish I would have thought of that. We should have done."
Oh,
that.
Davis Guggenheim has a Michael J. Fox documentary coming out.
Oh.
Davis Guggenheim is awesome, great storyteller, and he was telling me, I'm just locking picture. We were out for drinks. I'm just locking picture on this Michael J. Fox doc, and I was like, oh, I want to make the Michael J. Fox doc. Yeah, there's a Steve Martin doc coming out that was announced.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. You know,
I saw that Carlin one that came out a little while ago, the one that
I didn't see
did.
that.
Oh,
yeah. So a buddy of mine, Mike Bonfiglio, who I used to work with in New York, works on those. He co-directs those projects with Judd Apatow.
Oh, okay.
And I see him places, and I am so fucking jealous of him and his little Judd Apatow edit sessions. And they must like sit at night and just like talk about what's funny together. And we'll do Gary Shandling, and then we'll do George Carlin. Who should we do next? Mike Bonfiglio.
They're really good.
They're so good.
Carlin stuff. And you know me, Carlin's my guy.
I don't know how. See, there's just too much. I don't
They
know.
they also did the Daryl Strawberry Doc Gooden doc together.
Oh, that I never saw.
They're just dicks. So I am pissed at Mike Bonfiglio often
all the time,
and jealous of his relationship with Judd Apatow.
Well, so like,
let's sit up at night and talk about what's funny.
Who's the funniest person you ever worked with?
Well,
professionally, like recently, like you know.
I will say that Ryan Reynolds is
he legit? He's legit hilarious.
Yeah,
and handsome and tall.
Yeah,
see that.
handsome. It's like that everything.
But he really like in real world, and I haven't spent a ton of time with him, but we were a few days in Wales.
Yeah, it's enough to.
And he is genuinely a hilarious dude.
Yeah. And he's
charming and likable and kind and
smart, man.
That's good to hear. I would have hated to hear if he was a dick.
No, I hear good things about him, and I tell you, and the thing with him also was what he's so smart with what he's able to do, whether it's doing a project like yours, and then he gets himself in social media like that because he does a video with Hugh Jackman that he could have announced at D23, and he could have been a big announcer for them, but he's like, fuck this, I'm doing it on my social, I'm doing it that way, and that's it. Everyone was talking about. I did a video just reacting to the thing, and it was one of the bigger things that I did because he carries that kind of weight. He knows how to do it. He knows he's a genius marketer. So to couple the fact that he's a good-looking dude who's funny.
My question for you, though,
very funny.
Is he tall?
Yeah, and handsome. Handsome and tall.
But is he handsome?
Is he handsome?
Yeah.
Brady's so handsome. You've got no idea.
Turn around for
Ryan, give us a spin.
We need you to come kick this ball, will you?
There are other funny people, I'm sure, though.
No,
Dan
I know.
Levy's very funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, but I was just curious because he's again for people who don't know, Fried and I spent a lot of time in our early years together on the stand-up scene.
It's amazing to me that I can remember certain bits that have got to be 20 plus years ago
Yeah.
since I've heard them once. But like, I remember a guy in New York, Ted Alexandro. Is he around still? You guys know Ted
I'm not sure.
Alexandro?
I've been out of the scene too.
Okay. Ted Alexandro used to do this thing where he'd go, "What was New Year's like in Roman times? Was it like X, I-X,
Holy shit, I remember that.
V-I-I-I."
Oh my god,
It's just like
that was Luna.
just
That was
like-
Luna jokes too.
that dude just made me laugh.
Wow. Brett, tell him the Peg Boy joke.
You ever heard of Peg Boys?
Have you heard of the Peg Boys? Tell him what Peg Boys are.
I think it was Greek or Roman. I always confuse the two. They would have out on the boats these cats that would sit on pegs to keep their bums nice and loosened up and ready for operation. Because you didn't want women on ships, because it's bad luck. So you had Peg Boys.
This is a bit you request. That's what you love?
That's what I love. He brought it up one time recently where we talked about this movie that Ben Affleck did with Ana de Armas and like there's like ass eating that happens in it, and I brought it up.
Yeah.
And Roxy asked me in the show, she goes, "Did they eat ass in the 50s?" And I said, "Yeah." And Brett's like, "In the 50s?" He goes, "He's like, the Greeks did this thing called the Peg Boys."
Oh shit! You've seen the things of the ruins where they had like blocks that had penises on them, pointing you in the direction of the whorehouses. I mean, people think, "Oh man,
whores. I
everything's
forgot
so
about the
gross these days." Those guys were doing all of it.
I'll tell that story as well too. So I have no problem telling this. When I was my younger years, I had fun, and my wife likes to bring that up all the time, and she brought it up at my birthday dinner, and she's like, I had some horse underwear in his when I first left over. Not that it was, we were already broken up, and so
What's happening?
But anyway, but my wife brings that up, and Freed looks at me and goes, "I forgot about the horse."
She was like, he had these whores, and their underwear were left behind. These whores. And I go, did forget about the horse.
It was great. It was even Sadie goes. She wakes up the next day. She goes, "The line of the night was Andrew." It was hilarious. But anyway, I knew that when the three of us were on, this was going to happen. You should have seen Kate, who was as outrageous as when he came in. Kate was like firing down the questions, and
Well, we had things to talk about.
Yeah.
I was plugging. I was plugging my show.
you still got. I mean, it's still on the air now.
I have so many shows on.
I know. That's why I don't give a shit. I don't want to talk about your damn shit.
Dude, I told him though because I watched that Chef's Table Pizza, and I told him I was like, I got to go to Arizona. He's like, why? Go to the one in L.A. I'm like, my eyes dropped. I'm like, there's one in L.A.
I ate there last night.
You son of a bitch.
Pizzeria Bianco last night.
You
In
bastard.
the row downtown. Chris Bianco was there.
I wasn't doing anything.
No, I'm sure not. I was at Pizzeria Bianco.
Throwing Hunskies around. More still water.
It's true. Put that on the Amazon list. Go a trip to Bianca.
Yes,
Downtown.
margarita pizza, please.
So wait, where is he based though? where but is he still does he live here now?
He's splitting time,
He's
you know.
splitting time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, he's spending some time in Arizona. He's got the two restaurants there,
Right.
in Phoenix, and he's spending some time here in Los Angeles at the new
you-
restaurant.
Have not watched this Chris Bianco show, the first episode of Chef's Table Pizza, please go and do that tonight. It is. You guys know how much I just rave about pizza in general. When Freed was on last time, he's like, he's like, well, it's not New York style pizza. I like pizza.
This is Chris Bianco's the man. We had, I have been very fortunate over the last couple of weeks to have like these events around Chef's Table Pizza coming out, and so Franco Pepe was in town from Italy. We were in someone's backyard with a pizza oven, and he's like making pizza for us. It's crazy, right? It's like surreal. And then we're back there. We've been drinking a little bit, and then in through the backyard, Chris Bianco walks in with like ingredients. He's like, "Yeah, I heard you guys are having a pizza party." And it's like, all right. So then he and Franco Pepe are making pizza, and I'm just like, "Chris, were you at the restaurant?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, what what'd you tell them when you left? He goes, I said I'll be back in a few minutes.
It's, by the way, if you see the episode, it's a spot on impression. Spot on. It's so good. You got to watch it, Brett. You got to see.
He's great.
He's great. He's such a
Why
character.
don't you watch my shows, Brett?
It's just it's the same thing with you and the jealousy. I'm just like, I can't.
It's like me and Mike Bonfiglio.
Can't do it.
This guy.
I can't do it. We got to keep.
Mike
going.
Bonfiglio's a great guy.
Yeah, I know. You're just
Great
you guys are buddies.
filmmaker. The
but
films are great.
But
like him and Judd Apatow just sit around.
as much as you goofed out, is that something that was friendly competition? Do you think it's a good thing?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I the first time, maybe one of the most transformative things to happen in my life is my relationship with Lin Miranda and Tommy Kail and those folks, right? And the first time I saw their improv group, Freestyle Love Supreme, was the first time that I was exposed to them. That was before they were famous. They were just guys in an improv group.
Yes.
Our
and
improv group.
Save that for a second for those of you who don't know. And Phil Supreme, the movie that was on
We Are Freestyle Love Supreme on
Yes,
Hulu.
which Andrew directed.
I directed that.
Yes.
I directed that film.
Now,
But what I was going to say was, it's interesting because I hadn't thought of it, but we had just I had just ended my run in LA with you guys.
Yeah.
We had been doing improv, we had been doing whatever, and then I said goodbye to that and moved to New York. Yeah. Going to that improv show maybe a year later, 2 years later, I was like, fuck those guys. Like, truth. Yeah. Walked out of that show. It was a Thursday night at Ars Nova. Fuck those guys. And then, over the weekend, I was like, what was that? What did I see? Yeah. Why was it so easy for them? And why was it so good? And why can't I stop thinking about it? And then I reached out. And then, the rest of our lives creatively. Tommy and me, certainly.
And it's very interesting, that whole thing. And it also actually has me ask you about, because you've directed episodes of Chef's Table. Are you just doing any more directing?
I hope to, and I'm sure I will.
You said that you and your, but having the company too, you can go, I want to direct that one.
Well, but that is what happens when there's something that's like, look, it is great for me, I think, to direct episodes of shows because it keeps me in touch with how the shows are made. It gets me on the ground doing things. But it's also a big commitment to direct those things. And it's an unfair burden that I put on my creative cohorts when I do that, because when the boss is the director, the slack is picked up by the people around him. And so, I work with producers and editors who are very generous with their time and creativity.
Well, that's a question as well too, because when you have a director that is not you, and you're the one giving the notes, having suggestions, doing those things, who's giving those to you? What
is the check on me?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm pretty easy like that.
But who's doing it?
There are other producers. There are other people in the room. There's a room. And who that room is a safe space. But the people who are able to give notes. I mean, look, on Chef's Table, David Gelb and Brian McGinn, they wouldn't be.
They're going to tell you right away what they like.
And honestly, the first one that I did, which was the Nikki Nakayama episode, I remember David did not like, and we didn't have the history we had now. Right. And I remember saying to David, one night late night in an edit room, that he needs to like this. I know he may not love my episode as much as some of the other episodes, but I need him to like it, and I'm not pretending like that's not one of my goals. So if he doesn't like it, I need you to tell me so that you do.
Right. So do you think that was also up top that because you...
And then he ultimately did. He loves it. Yeah.
But do you think that the reason why at first that he didn't was because of that, okay, here's this guy who's producing it too, now wants to come in and direct it?
Well, he was more of a film guy. I was more of a TV guy. Right. I think the combination of all of us, Brian as well, being sort of... understanding all the languages, but certainly being a film guy, I think that the combination of us making something together ended up being successful between Chef's Table and Street Food. But I wanted to do things that that were not really in his idea of what the show was. Right. And so, we found our language. But the thing that's more interesting to me is that there are a bunch of the directors and DPs and the combinations thereof. And so Clay Jeter, who directed the Chris Bianco
Oh, okay. He did great.
Episode.
Great episode.
He always is like on the Amazon, on a glacier in Patagonia. He's like out in the far reaches of the earth making Chef's Table episodes. I'm like, mine are in like LA, San Francisco, and New York, and Hong Kong. And so like I've always been much more of a city director like that. But yeah, the fact that we're part of the same show is sort of a thrill to me because his are so adventurous. And
You're not going to be doing any Inuit.
No. I did one in Thailand that was pretty wild, but
Yeah. I was going to say, what was the place last?
Well,
question?
quick. Yeah, I had a question.
Brett.
Have you ever considered coming up with like an alter ego director that has a silly voice and smokes, that puts you in check? You know, I disagree.
Just sitting in a boardroom by himself as people walk in, and he's just arguing with himself.
I've got this.
He takes a beret from the back of his coat.
I've not considered that. But now I'm obsessed with it.
Now you have. I'm obsessed with that. Andrew Freed, it's always good to have you in here, man.
Oh my God, is that it?
That's it. We're with everything that we've talked about. This is almost we're usually an hour, but we're about close to 2 hours today.
What?
No, that's too much.
Yeah,
That's too much.
It's
Let's
a little
edit
much.
that down.
We
should really tighten it up.
Yeah.
Next time.
Can people listen to this at like a 1.75?
They can listen to how they want. They can listen to it. And you know where else you can listen to it, everybody? You can make sure that you listen to it. And you can listen to it on Patreon if you wanted to. It actually is there. But if you wanted to listen to it on Apple Podcasts, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts. But a lot of people like to listen on Spotify. Oh. And if you follow the big thing on Spotify, that's where you can get it. You can hear this full interview with myself and Andrew and Brett. You can find a lot of the different things that we do here on the show right there and there. So it is the Big Thing Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to Andrew Freed. Thank you to Carbon Health for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you to Brett Sheridan for building out this studio. And thank you
It
to all
looks
of
great,
you. It
Brett.
really
Thank
does.
you.
And I thank all of you guys for adding the list. We're very, very few things left. And that's all
Yellow
guys do.
chair is left.
Do you like that yellow chair?
Yellow chair.
You don't like the
over
yellow
there?
chair? Someone's going to get that yellow chair. I'm telling you. And we're going to call it, whoever gets that yellow chair, we're going to call it that
The Andrew
person's
Freed
name.
chair.
The Andrew Freed chair. No matter who gets it, we'll call it the Freed chair.
That's right.
Thank you guys. And check out Chef's Table Pizza, man. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Yep. Dude, I can't watch that show on an empty stomach, though. I know you hear that a million times over. I just can't do it. I got to get to that pizza place. You tell me you go to that Bianca Pizza one more time without me, I'm going to break your...
I was there last night.
I know, you son of a bitch.
Delicious.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us
I
here
can
today.
still almost taste it.
I can smell it. I can smell it on your shirt. All right. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for joining us. Peace.